This, ladies and gentlemen, is your typical modern hallway bathroom. You see, you got the tub shower combo. They had a water leak. Restoration comes in, tears everything out. They call your boy, Finisher, to get everything put back in. Now, the question I have for you, though, is how many skills do you need to be able to put this bathroom back together? We're going to go through them all today. Look at that dude right there. What's up, man? Now, this house is probably about 5 years old. And as you see, everything's still in place. So you don't have to run new plumbing, no new electrical. You're not changing from a tub shower to a regular, walk-in shower or something like that, where you got to change the plumbing up. This is as basic as it gets. Now, right now, I'm just prepping the flooring. When you pull up linoleum, it leaves all those little staples all over the place. Now, sometimes I use a multi-tool and I have a little, rounded blade that goes on, a little attachment. I have that here, but this is actually a tile blade. So the edge is really for grout, for removing grout. It's not really effective for doing this, but when you have wood that's left under the staples, then I got to cut those, because even if you hit them down with a hammer, they're not going to go all the way in because they got wood stuck up under them. Now, I mean, you could say this is really part of the demo, but, if I didn't have to, I wouldn't be doing it either. I was hoping they did it, but I didn't notice. I didn't even notice that there were staples down there. So I don't really consider that a skill. But this right here, the one I'm always talking about, drywall repair. Now, realistically, the reason why I'm here even doing this job is because I can do the drywall repair and everything else. It's just, it becomes a one-stop shop, and a bad drywall repair will ruin everything. You can have all new stuff installed in this bathroom, but if the drywall repair looks terrible, they'll be like, and we don't want that. Just in case you don't know, when houses are built, normally you have a drywall installation crew and a finishing crew. It's usually two separate crews, but when you're doing the repairs, you got to do the whole thing. You got to do it all. I don't care if you're DIY or you do this for a living or you're trying to start doing this for a living. I mean, for me, it's just one of the most critical things to be able to do is the drywall repair. It'll just open so many doors. It'll have you just unafraid to just open up a wall and do anything. I always use a drywall screw gun too. It's just a lot more efficient, much faster. You also see, I just wanted to point this out real quick, all right? You see me leaning on this stool, it's not because of pure and utter laziness, okay? It is because I have a knee I'm trying to heal. So I didn't want to spend all day putting all my weight on one knee. So I figured I'd just grab the stool, lean on the stool so I could take the pressure off and not have to use the other knee. Now, it was a pain. I mean, it was just a pain, but I'm much better now. So it definitely worked, Right now I'm cutting out the hole for the toilet water line. And luckily with this whole thing, the water lines for the sink were above the repair. So I had to cut the hole for the drain. So I didn't use caulk or anything. I just leaned the drywall against it and just cut the hole. So worked out perfectly. Some guys, for a cleaner look, they'll remove the stop valve. But I mean, personally, it's just unnecessary. It's just the hole I cut is barely bigger than the water line, and I'll fix that in 2 seconds. So I don't need to go find the water and shut it off, because where I live, man, a lot of times the water shut off is in the crawl space, not necessarily in the newer houses. But if it's not necessary, I'm not getting in the crawl space to shut the water off to cut a smaller hole that I can fix. Like, it's a total waste of time. Now you see I'm using some hot mud. This is 45 minute. I mean, realistically, I could have used 20 minute or 5 minute for this. It's just what I had available, so I just used it. And plus, it really doesn't matter to me for this one, because I'm gonna just go ahead and do the floor once I finish putting this mud on. So I'm not gonna put the next layer of mud on yet anyway. So, and remember that anytime you're in the bathroom, you need the moisture / mold resistant drywall. Sometimes it's green, sometimes it's purple. It all depends on whether it's Certainteed or Gold Bond. It's all about what company makes it, but it all does the same thing. It's moisture and mold resistant, all right? So that's what you need. As we come to our second skill that we need, flooring installation. Who doesn't love some nice LVP? You know what I mean? Like, I enjoy installing this stuff. I mean, at least LVP and laminate. I like those two. I can do linoleum. I'll glue that down and whatever, but I don't do glue down plank flooring, and I don't do peel and stick. Oh. Peel and stick, man. You want that done, you got to do it yourself, man. To me, that's 100% DIY. You know why I don't like it? Because I can't control the outcome. For example, when I'm doing LVP flooring, I have certain brands that I love to use. So I always recommend them or have the customer get this specific brand. They pick out of the brands that I think are good brands. When I'm doing tile flooring, I pick the thin set that I like to work with because I mix it up. I can control how well, I prepare it. And I trust the thin set. Man, peel and stick, man, I don't know. Some of them things have such a thin layer of stickiness that I just know I'm going to get a call back in a year because all the corners are peeling up and I have no control over how well it was going to stick in the first place. Kills me. Now, y'all see with this, I just cut out that toilet and there's different ways you can do it. But for me, I love using a multi-tool. I just put the piece over the toilet flange and just cut it. You could just actually have a spare toilet flange with you and use that as a template to cut your circle out. So there's a lot of ways to do it. And, for me, I'm like I said, the multi-tool is like an extension, of my arm. So I love it. Now, I'll be honest with you. Sometimes small bathrooms are so much more of a pain than big rooms, right? This one wasn't too bad because the toilet and the vanity were not in there. But man, sometimes the smaller the bathroom, I've done where, how some people do templates to do a backsplash or something. I've actually made a template, went outside and cut the entire bathroom floor and it's brought all the pieces back in already cut. Now y'all see I'm going back over the mud, the tape and everything with +3. Now, if you haven't heard me say it yet, I'm telling you probably hear me say it a million times. Depending on where you live, some places use texture. They use all sorts of different texture, right? But where I am, hardly anybody uses texture. It's rare. They're starting to do it at some spots that are kind of out of my area that I used to work in. So I've done texture repairs, but it's just rare. It's super rare. So this is flat wall. As you see right now though, I'm using it's called a Mini Flex air sander. I like it. Usually I use my little automatic thing, but for smaller jobs where I really don't need it, I like this one, man. You know me, anything I can hook up to a vacuum and get rid of the dust, I'm about that. So this thing actually works pretty good. Now you see I got this torn paper up here. The way I deal with that, I mean, you could either take a little putty knife and just go under it until you get to, where it's not raised up anymore. A lot of times I'll just run one of my sanders across it, make it so that it's nice and smooth, right? Basically, that's all you're trying to do. Get rid of all the little parts that are sticking up all over the place. And then I go over the whole wall with primer. And this brings in the third skill that you need, painting. Now, whenever I do one of these jobs, I always quote for I quote it 3 different ways. I quote it just doing the repair. I quote it if they have the matching paint, I'll paint the repair. Or do you want me to paint all the walls that are attached to the repair? This one was all wall situation. So I painted any wall that the repair was located. I painted it all the way to the ceiling. So it's all uniform. Now you can tell right now it's already painted. And also I snuck in the toilet. I don't know if you can see it, but I snuck it in, y'all. I snuck it in off camera. It was getting late on day 1, man. It was time to go. I had to get up out of there. But that brings up the fourth skill that you need. Some light plumbing. Now, of course, this is all based on what you can do, where you live, or whatever. But we're not going to focus on that right now. I'm just saying, if you want to do this whole bathroom, you got to be able to do just a little bit of plumbing, right? Like I said, we're not moving drains and adding new water lines, or we're not doing anything. We're just hooking this up to the existing plumbing. That's why I said it doesn't get any more basic than this. Even with this vanity, the fact that I can install everything with, with the sink on top of the vanity. Now, of course, once the sink is installed, I still got to go underneath to hook up the water lines and the drain. But I'd much rather do it this way, of course, than having to do everything from underneath. That's a pain. I wanted to show you this though. This is the first time the Cobalt tool wouldn't work to tighten up the faucet. Now, I tried it every way, even the dumbest way possible, which I know what you're thinking. I mean, I accept it. Look, I was just trying anything because it's never failed me before. Now, this is the OG one. This is when they first came out. So I don't know how old it is, but man, I just kept trying. I was like, so one of these got to work, but nope. I mean, this is the OG one. Like, this is the one they first made. So they might have updated it since then, so maybe I get a new one. Any excuse to get a new tool, right? Now I'm attaching the toilet paper holder to the vanity. This is actually a skill. I think it's part of like art hanging or TV mounting. I think it falls in that category because you got one shot. It's not like you can put multiple holes in this vanity or something like that. It has to be level, and you got to get it in one shot. And I think, being accurate enough to, get this right is a skill. Now, when I put these in, you see, I use bolts and nuts instead of using screws because I think screws will eventually just rip out. So I always use bolts. So put the vanity top on, get it in place, use some nice silicone, get it locked in. Man, it's a beautiful thing. I did want to show y'all, I did finish the flooring and put that transition in. And the last skill, which I didn't record, but installing trim. Now, most guys will tell you baseboards and quarter round is about as easy as it gets, but it's still trim. It's still carpentry. So I'm claiming it. There it is, and there you have it. 6 skills needed just for this little tiny bathroom without even doing a light or anything else. Once again, Daryl, also known as a finisher. Stay safe, be blessed, and remember, if the trades don't work, nothing else does.